Hi, I'm Chris. Welcome back to The Last Bet. This channel is totally dedicated to helping people who are in the midst of dealing with a gambling addiction. Like myself, I'm here to help and to provide support and some of my knowledge to be able to get through on a day by day, to be able to provide support and some of my own knowledge and experience to be able to tackle some of the regular issues that millions across our nation are facing. So for anyone that is here, whether you're here to support someone trying to get some knowledge and some help, or you're here for yourself to be able to battle this most difficult disease, which gambling is rampant right now. It is across our nation. It's in front of us on every commercial that you're seeing. It's in our hands with our mobile phones, our tablets, anything that you're utilizing. It is across every walk that we have. Gambling is all around us. So this channel is wholly dedicated to be able to provide, hopefully, decades of content is really my goal of just information to be able to help someone, even if it's one life along with my own, to be able to stop gambling. And it really is, my personal mission to be able to save a life one day through this channel. So we're going to get into the topic of the relapse. Why does a gambler relapse? So I'm going to talk about just some of the stats as always, and a little bit of my own experience with relapse. That's going to be the topic for today of why does a gambler relapse? So we're going to get right into it. As always, all the information shared in this video is from personal experience and opinion. The main goal is to help compulsive gamblers in their recovery. So let's get right into it. Why does a compulsive gambler relapse? So at any point that you get into it. So from the very foundation of it, so if you're coming and you're watching on this channel, you're listening along just from the get-go. Think of any time that you have tried to stop gambling. If you saw yourself at a point where I've gone too far with this, think of all the different stages of it. So for me, the very first time when I thought I was taking it too far before I actually ever got help, the only option I had was white knuckling it. That only lasted a matter of days, was white knuckling it. But beyond just that kind of piece of it, when you start getting to a point of actually getting help, if you start saying, you know what, I'm going to take this seriously. I realized how far I've gone with gambling. It's cost me time. It may have cost me my job. It may have cost me my family. It can cost a lot of things for people at all walks. The most important thing, to me is certainly time, that affects, for a lot of people that would be coming on here. You cannot take back the time that you obsess in thinking about gambling, the time that you're thinking of lies, all the things that are a part of it. But I think I want to talk about just everything related to what causes someone to relapse, especially when you're doing well, and just talking about that whole process, because there's a lot to it. Because once you get to the point of a relapse, there's reactions in all different, depending on the person, they react in all different ways to a relapse. I'll explain how I reacted to it, and others react differently. There's many, some people handle it a certain way, others handle it a different way. And relapse can happen at all different points of time, throughout the spectrum. So, this will dovetail in kind of a whole different, set of areas that I'm just going to dig into. But first and foremost, I like to always just start with a few stats, just to level set for everyone. So digging into just from the experts that deal and treat and work with compulsive gamblers, so ones that actually go into rehab and physical treatment, they say that people that are problem or compulsive gamblers that actually go to doctors to get help will relapse a minimum of 5 to 7 times in their lifetime. 5 to 7 times. And many of the relapses occur in their first year, in the first 12 months that they're saying the relapses happen. So 5 to 7 times. Um, I think, it also went on to say those numbers can vary widely by the person, which is fair. I think there's extremes in any direction. I have come across people that it's very, very rare that are one and done. They come in once and they're good. That is an extreme rare. I've seen people relapse on a regular basis, that are opposite of this. The one point that I absolutely agree upon is the first 12 months being the time that you relapse the most, trying to get that first year. When what you're used to is gambling, trying to get that much time doesn't seem possible when you've invested many of your adult years in life, maybe even a lot of your child years in life, gambling. That's just what you're used to. That's kind of ingrained as part of your life. It's not just, it started as a hobby, but it's become part of your, just what you do. That's, you can, whether you might want to admit it or not, that's kind of part of your identity. People know you as the gambler. I mean, I've had people that I come across, they're like, oh yeah, it's gambling Eddie. It's gambling Mary. That's how they know you. Whether you like it or not, you can joke about it, but that's how you're known in life. And, if you actually, if you want to test it, you can leave after, if you've watched any part of this video, you can leave, just talk to a few friends. They'll tell you the truth. Be like, hey, describe me. Describe me in a few words. Like, what's a few things how would you describe me? What are things that I like? They'll tell you the truth. They'll tell you if you're a gambler or not. They're the ones that'll be straight with you that, yeah, you're a straight up crazy gambler. They'll always hit you with it. But it kind of becomes ingrained in your DNA. If you've been doing it for so many years, you may not even realize it. You might even lie to yourself that that's kind of part of your life. So I do agree with the fact that, yeah, and that most of your relapses are going to occur in your first 12 months. And this is when you've come to the point that you're saying, I need help. This is not you just kind of white knuckling it. I'm going along before I'm trying to get help. This is you getting help. Relapse is happening. I can tell you from my own experience, as I've shared, I really have a big goal of trying to get to 100 subscribers to be able to tell my entire testimonial. I want to be able to share with a lot of people. So many, thank you for so many that have come on this channel already, that are a lot of, friends and people that have, pushed me along and have said, this is great to be able to make this happen. Gambling has been a part of my life for 20 years. Started in 2006, with sports betting, but prior to that, poker, that I was into. But even before that, I mean, I remember even as a kid, if you remember those games, I know I'm coming off track here, but if you remember the games back in the day, you remember they're probably still around, like at the Dave and Buster's and stuff. Where the games where they have the quarters and they're pushing the quarters, almost like the big claws, and they're just stacked full of quarters and they're going in and out, in and out. You slide a quarter down and it's pushing them. And it looks like there's like 500 quarters hanging off the edge, and you're trying to push the quarters off. You're just dropping quarter after quarter. I remember being 8 years old and being in an arcade looking at one of those machines, and I'm like, holy cow, look at all those quarters. And I wanted to play it. And I was on vacation. I always got a roll of quarters from my parents, $10 worth of quarters. And I was like, oh man, I want to do this. Like, we got to use it for the arcade at the hotel. And I'm at this one arcade, and I'm like, oh man, I want to do this. And so I put in a quarter, bump it a little bit. You see them moving, put in another quarter. They're bumping more. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're moving. Put in another quarter, bang, knocks them all down. At 8 years old, I swear to you, it felt like $100 worth of quarters moved down. And that feeling, here and in my stomach was like, oh my gosh. my parents, my sister, they come over and they're like, "Oh my gosh, look at all of that." And I'm grabbing all these quarters up. Again, you feel at 8 years old like you have just hit the lottery. And my my parents are like, "Well, save that away. You're going to have extra for the arcade." And guess what I did at 8 years old? I pumped all of those quarters back in that machine. At 8 years old, I pumped all those quarters right back in that machine. And my parents are witnessing this. I don't even know if they'll ever remember this, but my parents are witnessing me pump quarter after quarter that I just got out of that machine right back in, because I'm like, I can see more that are coming. Like, I think I can get more. And they're like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I can get more. I can get more. I can get more." Until I pumped every single one of those quarters right back in. And at the end of the day, I was minus 75 cents. I lost every quarter. I don't even know what it ended up being. I ended up leaving upset. My parents are like, "What were you thinking?" They're upset at me. I'm upset at myself. This was 8 years old. So that would actually, in my mind, be my earliest gambling experience, even well before poker. Where that feeling, that feeling there, I remember it. I was 8 years old and I remember it. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked from it. But getting back to the relapse, for people coming in, once you've gotten to the point of needing the help yourself, and you're coming in, it is very, very difficult to be able to get, as I shared in my previous video, to get to the 30 days. It's really a grind to get there. And so there's a lot of recognition that, okay, with a lot of help, it's going to be very difficult to get there. For me, I had a unique set of circumstances that I'll get into. So I was very motivated that I'm going to do all that I can. I'm going to follow the program that's set before me. I'm going to be on the straight and narrow, period. And there's others that are like me, that it's like, I'm going to do anything that's asked of me. I'm going to do it. And I was on the straight and narrow for a long time. So there was no relapse involved for almost 10 years. But there are a lot of people that will go, about a month, maybe have a relapse in there. They might go 2 months or 3 months and a relapse in there. And they might even get to 6 months. And what's neat in some of these programs, you get little recognitions along the way, by hitting some of those marks, to try to encourage you to keep going, to keep going, to keep going. It's because it's not easy, especially in that first year. If you're used to, prior to this, I'm going to try to be on the straight and narrow. If you're used to multiple hours of slot machines, multiple hours of Keno, multiple hours of lottery, multiple hours of bingo, multiple hours of sports betting, multiple hours of, you name the gambling topic, scratch-offs, that has been ingrained in your life, poker, blackjack, roulette, whatever it is, if that has been multiple hours of your day for multiple days a week for multiple years of your life, that is who you are, that is a really, really tough habit to break. Because you're trying to do this by coming to, some meetings to help you. Beyond that, it's you. It's you in your house. You're trying to figure out other things to break it. And you're trying to find other habits, some healthy habits to stop. You're trying to change your life. That's hard. So that's where the relapses happen. However, there are relapses that happen, like a lot of times people will hit 1 year. Once you hit a year, people are really excited, like it's an anniversary. It's like when you hit a wedding anniversary, the excitement that you have when you have an anniversary, it's an excitement. You feel great. But let me tell you, there's a big letdown that can happen after an anniversary. It can happen because you feel great. 1 year feels great. If you have a spouse, you have a significant other that's been encouraging you along. I mean, if you think about this, if it's smoking, if you've tried to quit smoking for a year, you've tried to quit drinking for a year. But if you've quit gambling for a year, you've quit spending all the finances, you've quit investing all that time, you've been clean for a year, that's a significant time savings. That's a significant financial savings. It's a significant mind change. You are in a very, very clear state. You're sober. It's an addiction. So you're sober. You're a year sober, you're a year clean, you're thinking clearly. But once that year hits, a lot of people get complacent. I know it because I've been there. And once you kind of get in that point, people kind of back off of you. So, kind of bringing this farther back and back to the relapse point, more people are likely to relapse, in my opinion, that have more time because they're not looked at as much. Yes, lots of relapses happen to people that are in the early stages of it because they're really trying to quit, but relapses are expected then. Lots of attention are on them. It's really hard. You're trying to break the habit. Yes, there's lots of relapses in this pocket. But there's lots of relapses happening after 1 year. And there's a lot of relapses happening that probably aren't even being talked about because everyone backs off. Usually the spouse starts backing off. You know, the friends, anyone that you've divulged your story to, they start backing off because they start thinking you're good again. You look good again. And this is an important time for me to talk about this. As I'm going to keep sharing in every video, I haven't gambled now since November of 2024. So this is 14 plus months. February is 15 months. For me, this is a crucial time for me to tell my story and be really passionate about giving back. And I promise you there will be a ticker. I actually started shopping for online tickers. If people could share in the comments if they find a really good online ticker, because I want one that gets to like 4 to 5 digits, because I know there's 365 days in a year, but I'm like, if I get to 10 years, that's like 3,650 days. I mean, and if I get to 30 years, that's like 5 digits. So I need a big board, like a big long board back here that I need a really long ticker, and I want it to tick the seconds, I want it to tick the minutes and the days. So anyway, if anyone sees something on Amazon or something that says is like a really good ticker that will show days, hours, minutes, seconds, that's what I want. If anyone can send that to me in comments, that's what I want, because I want to be able to display my time free from gambling. So it's going to be here because I need it. It's for my accountability, but I want everyone to see it because I believe that year plus needs to be exposed for people, because once you hit that mark, usually a lot of people back off you because they're like, anniversary, you did it. You did it. You're healed. Like, let's be real. If you're the gambler on here, right? If you're a gambler on here and you haven't gambled for a year, people think you're healed. Call yourself out, right? People aren't looking at your wallet the same. They're not looking at your bank account the same. They're not asking you the questions that they were at 30, 60, and 90 days. They are not. They're not asking you, did you think about gambling today? Did you have any gambling thoughts? Did you think about going to the casino? Did you think about betting on sports? Did you think about looking at any lines today? When you finished shopping at the grocery store, did you think about buying any scratch-offs? When you went to the bar, did you look at the Keno? Did you think about playing any Keno when you were at the bar? You don't get those questions after 1 year. It's a reality. And if you're a support person, you need to be still cognizant of that. And if you are the gambler, you need to not relax, is what I'm telling you. Because the whole point of this video is how to prevent a relapse. And how to prevent a relapse is not to relax. That's the whole point of this video. To prevent a relapse is not to relax after 1 year, because it is a big deal. It is a big deal and a big accomplishment. And I have hit 1 year a couple times now. And it is a big deal because I am thinking so clearly. I'm not having dark thoughts. I'm not having the invasive thoughts. I'm not on the hamster wheel. You know, what's going on in the Super Bowl's not in my head. The lines, none of that is in my head. But guess what? I am still just as close to my next bet as that person who just made a bet a few minutes ago. And anyone that has 5 years gambling free, 7 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, you are just as close to your next bet, and you are not any more safe than anyone else. And so if you're not going to a meeting and you're not reading any books and you're not doing anything, you're not making a video, you're not talking about your experience, you're not doing anything to block yourself, your spouse isn't asking you any more questions, you're not safeguarding, if you're not doing anything positive, then you're opening the door for relapse. So there you have it. And you know why I know? Because I've done it to myself over and over and over. I have opened that door for relapse to happen, and I've just stuck that dagger right in. I wouldn't throw it out there on anyone if I didn't do it to myself, slamming daggers right through my heart over and over. So if you are watching this video and you are blessed to have more than 1 year gambling free, then time to get really serious and to reach out, help others, but keep helping yourself. Tell your story. Tell your story of redemption and tell your story of hope, because this animal of gambling is stronger than ever. And once it has you in its claws again, it doesn't let up, because you can deposit money in any way humanly possible now. It's not just, you can deposit in any way possible, and you have 170 apps. On my very first video I posted, there are 170 plus apps that you can gamble on now. So the way to relapse is there, and you just don't know, if you don't have any way to prevent it, when that friend that's very convincing says, listen, let's just do this. Let's just pop in this place. It'll be cool. You're good. I know you're good. You've been good for a while. We'll just go. It'll be fine. That cool, convincing friend. And every person that's a compulsive gambler that I've ever known is pretty much a yes man, just like I am, or a yes woman. And that person that comes to you that says, look, we'll just go here. Or you happen to have that concert, or you happen to have that conference or that event that just happens to be at Atlantic City, or happens to be in Vegas, or you happen to have this or that happens to be in the area. Look, life happens. It does happen. And if you're not on it and you're not on point, it happens. And what about day trading? What about all the other things that are out there? There are so many items that surround us in the world of gambling. Like there's the stock market, there's cryptocurrency, there's day trading, there's all these other items that all hit around gambling that can consume us. It's all circled around money, right? So what I'm telling you is there are a lot of relapses that aren't being owned on. Like people aren't saying that I relapsed. So for me, when I relapsed, I would hide it. I would not fess up to it right away. Some people, when they relapsed, they went up to it right away. They would come and they would go, if they're a part of a meeting, they would go and they would say, I relapsed. It's a funny line I always would hear in the meeting would be, how do you know when a compulsive gambler is lying? When their lips are moving. And, you know, at first I was like, well, that's kind of an insult, but it can be true, right? Because as a compulsive gambler, you spend a lot of your day thinking up lies to be able to continue gambling. So if you are in relapse mode, like me, I wouldn't even want to own up at my meetings sometimes that I was in relapse. So I would encourage you, if you are in relapse mode, own up to the people that get it the most, first of all. Own up to those people. They deserve to hear it. They deserve to know. And that's your road to recovery right there. But there are people that do own up to it. So from a relapse perspective, there's people that will own up to it. There's people that will hide it. When you hide it, it makes that problem all the bigger to me, because people like me that hide it, when you hide it, it will make your problem bigger, because when you hide it, it's just like this big secret that when you have this big secret and you're hiding it, it makes it like this big drama kind of movie that you got building, this big thing. And guess what? Your bets get bigger. It does. If you own up to what's going on, you'll find that actually your relapses aren't as big of relapses, versus if you're trying to hide it, your relapses get really big. Try it. See if I'm wrong. If you relapse and you own up to it immediately, to the people you love and the people that can help you, you'll find that your relapse amount isn't that bad, versus if you hide it, don't tell anyone, don't tell the people that can help you, it ends up being a really, really big problem by the time it gets exposed. It's true. It happened to me as well. I'm just telling you from experience. So there's people that accept it, or there's people that hide it. But, I think relapse, to kind of sum all this up, is part of recovery. It's part of the road to redemption, and it's to be expected. I always felt guilty when I relapsed. I felt like I was failing. I felt very depressed. I felt very down. I felt very sad and disappointed in myself when I relapsed, because I expected basically perfection out of myself. I expected that it would never happen. But like I just shared, I would get in moments where I would get consumed by life and my family and my work and other things, and I wasn't paying any attention at all to any kind of recovery, and recognizing that, look, when you have an addiction, you have to spend time in focusing on recovery the rest of your life. There has to be time spent on that recovery, or that addiction is still there. Like, you can arrest it. It doesn't go away. It's there for life. That addiction is part of you. And you can use it for a great thing in your life. You can use it as a great lesson learned and a great part of your story. Sometimes, a level of toughness and a level of, kind of hardening that you've got and lessons learned that you've had in life that makes you who you are. Some of the broken road that you had that has made you who you are. I find a lot of beauty in it right now. But if you ignore it, completely, that door opens up. It's still there. That addiction is still there. You can't ignore it. It's always going to be there. You have got to pay attention to it, or it will be a full-time problem again. It's my main focus for everyone. It will be a full-time problem again. If you make it, it's almost like daily devotions. Have daily devotions focusing on your recovery, just the same way you focus on your faith and your mental recovery. Just a daily focus on it, to make it a point to take care of day by day, staying strong. Which is my message that I have. So that's where I leave it. That's the best way. Knowing that relapse is going to happen, but to not be disappointed, but to realize, all right, we're going to put it right back where it is, arrest it again, get back on, day at a time. That's all I got. So I hope that all makes sense. Stay strong, win the day. Like and subscribe if you like what you hear. Thanks.